Hi guys, welcome to this video looking at the properties of the transition metals. If we start off with where the transition metals are on the periodic table then, you should remember that group 1 are the alkali metals, group 7 are the halogens, and group 0 are the noble gases. You may not remember that the transition metals is this block in the middle here. Now one of the main things you need to know is what the properties of the transition metals are. Now surely it's just like all the normal metals, right? Well, almost. They're malleable, which means they can be hammered into shape. They're ductile, which means they can be stretched into wires. They're good conductors of electricity, and they're shiny when polished, just like all metals. However, there are a few things that stand them apart from the metals in groups 1, 2 and 3. For example, they have a higher melting point, and they are denser than the metals in groups 1, 2 and 3. Now this isn't always the case. For example, mercury is a liquid at room temperature, meaning it has a lower melting point. But in general, transition metals have a higher melting point and density. One of the other properties that makes transition metals different to normal metals is that they form coloured compounds. A few examples of this are iron 2 hydroxide, which forms a pale green precipitate, as you can see here. You have iron 3 hydroxide, which makes an orangey brown precipitate, as you can see. And finally, copper hydroxide, which forms a blue precipitate, as you can see here. Now for paper 1 you don't need to know these colours, however when you get to paper 2 you will be doing iron tests, so it's useful to know them anyway. And the final part of this video, the final thing, is that transition metals are used in catalysts, and there are two specific examples that will be useful to remember. Number 1, iron is used in the Haber process, where nitrogen and hydrogen are reacted to make ammonia. And then number 2, iron 3 chloride is used in the manufacture of PVC. Polyvinyl chloride. And just as a quick reminder, remember catalysts are used to speed up a chemical reaction and they don't get used up or changed chemically. And that really is everything you need to know on the transition metals. Right, let's have a look at a question that you could get in an exam. I've got one for you which says describe 3 differences between the properties of lithium in group 1 and copper, a transition metal. Pause the video, have a go, we'll see how you've done in a minute. Okay, let's go through. So 3 different properties then. Number 1, copper has a higher melting point than lithium. Number 2, copper is more dense than lithium. And number 3, copper forms coloured compounds. You didn't need to remember it was blue, you just needed to remember that it forms a coloured compound. They may have given you the mark for the catalyst, but seeing as you don't need to know any copper-based catalysts, I would leave that one out when you put that in your answer. Okay then, just to finish this video off, I've got one question for you in the review, which is explain the similarities and differences between the properties of the transition metals and the properties of the metals in groups 1 and 2. It's a 6 marker, so think all the similarities, what do all metals do, and what's the difference between the transition metals and the other groups. That is everything you need to know from this video. If you want to see if you're right, put a comment down below and I'll let you know. Hi guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please click on like down below. You can also subscribe to my channel, you can check out the latest video, and you can visit my website up above here. Bye now.